All right, people, let's get this thing going, shall we? Let's get this going. I was thinking about doing a corny intro and stuff like, "Welcome to Whose Line Is It Anyway?" Something like that along those lines. Try to be a showman a little bit and show some showmanship. Okay, hello everybody, welcome in, welcome in. Okay. So as you guys can tell from the title, it is a play on words. Hold on, let me double check. Let's make sure okay, we're good. We're not getting muted out. Okay, just had to make sure. Um, so, as you can see by the title of the video, I titled this stream, "Whose Coach Is It Anyway?" Where the games are made up and the points do not matter. If you are a fan of Whose Line Is It Anyway, you get that reference. And I think it's very fitting now because we look around and we look at the league and we see what's going on in the league. Where, like, let's just look around and let's see who's coaching and stuff. Whose coach is it? You know what I mean? Like, who's the coach of these spots? Who's going where? I think for the first time, this is like it's been a hot minute since I can recall the last time this happened. But when was the last time that there were at one point 10, yes, count them, 10 NFL head coach vacancies in the NFL? And so I thought it'd be funny to just kind of like a little fun play on words where, Whose Line Is It Anyway is a fun game show where just things are made up, you grab props, you just make jokes. And so I just thought it'd be funny to be like, welcome to the NFL, whose coach is it anyway, where the games are made up and the rules do not matter. Because there has been I'm going to be honest, Stefanski, Tomlin, McDermott, Harbaugh, that's four that I can count off the top of my head. The McDaniel one did seem like the writing was on the wall in Miami because, oh my gosh, all season, that's what everybody was talking about. They're talking about, oh my hell, get him out of town. We don't want him anymore. He's a bum. And then, which breaking news, this is like effectively today because my brain, I follow so many shitpost accounts where I saw the meme of him signing with the Chargers, but like my brain, because he was wearing his Dolphins hoodie, I thought it was just because nobody had announced, because Miami hadn't found a coach. My brain just read it as breaking news: Miami Dolphins hiring Mike McDaniel, and so it's like, oh, they couldn't find anybody, so they hired him back. Which that's something that's going on in Cleveland right now. They can't even, which I'll get into that. They can't even get anybody to interview. And then also other breaking news, like Phillip Rivers stepped away from interviewing for the Bills job. I mean, the coaching carousel right now it's at an all-time high, which is pretty humorous and pretty entertaining to say the least. And so that's why I wanted to make this stream. And so hopefully you guys enjoy the stream. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to hit that comment. And let me know your comments. Give a hot take. Leave a subscribe if you enjoyed the stream. But let's get into the stream. So one thing that I wanted to address and, is the 10 vacancies. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to go through all of them. I mean, we can start first. Possibly because I think he is probably the hottest coach right now on the board. I don't know what it is with Stefanski. I don't know why everybody hates Stefanski. Everybody is talking like, oh my gosh, get him out of town. He's not the right he's not the right quarterback guru. He's not the right field general for the Cleveland Browns. Get him the hell out. And it's like, does anybody remember at all, this dude is a 2-time Coach of the Year. I believe he won Coach of the Year when him and Baker won a wild card playoff game. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he also won Coach of the Year the year that they asked Joe Flacco to come, play football after sitting on a couch for 2 months, because Flacco, I think, had retired, or he wasn't signed with anybody. And season started September or October, and then in November, after sitting the season for 2 months, they gave him a call, and then he came in. Which quarterback play, which this is what's kind of humorous, is there were some quarterbacks in the league where the 4 or 5 week stretch that Joe Flacco had with the Browns, he had more passing touchdowns than some of the quarterbacks had in those 4 or 5 weeks than those quarterbacks had all season up until that point as well. Like, that was a meme that everybody was talking about, that everybody memed on. It was kind of funny because, yeah, I think something that's pretty important is, quarterback play. And I think, when you got a good quarterback, a lot of stuff can happen and it can turn the tide of a lot of, I look at what's going on with Seattle, for example. Look at what's going on in New England. I mean, these teams aren't just here because they're here to look pretty. A lot of it comes down to quarterback play. And right now, one of the head coaching positions I would say and talk about is the Bills one, dude. You cannot convince me, I'm sorry, that none of this, whether it was Stefanski or Saleh or McCarthy, dude, hell, even Phillip Rivers, after playing 4 or 5 games for the Colts, having been retired for 5 years, he was so well, again, I don't know, but like, the Bills head coaching job seemed that intriguing that he would go try to interview. People, you look at the league, how the league is now, like, yeah, Joe Burrow is a quarterback that you want to coach. Josh Allen is a quarterback you want to coach. Lamar Jackson, I know there's a lot of negative press around him right now, and how a lot of people are blaming the coaching, like how you can't coach him hard, which is what drove Harbaugh out of town. Which I would say the same thing's probably going on in Cleveland, but no one's talking about that. But Herbert, I know Herbert would be on that list. Purdy, I think you could argue and say Purdy would be. And you know what? Even though people clown on it and say he's not that good of a quarterback, Jalen Hurts and that offense. Come on. You got Jalen Hurts as the quarterback. You got Saquon as your running back. Who wouldn't want to coach the Eagles? You get hated on. Everybody hates you when you want to do the tush push. Come on. That seems like the perfect job. But anyways, so with Stefanski and how he left, my thoughts and my opinions on the Browns firing him. If I'm going to be honest, I think, I just think this one was more, well, because here's the other thing too, with everybody being like, oh my gosh, he sucks at coaching, he's a bum, whatever this, whatever that. The truth is, yeah, he did have a losing record as the Browns head coach. And name a coach in the last 60 years, since the Super Bowl era started, because we always want to go back to Jim Brown, and we want to talk about how successful the Browns were before we called the Super Bowl the Super Bowl. Which head coach or which starting NFL quarterback had a winning record there? None of them. Like Cleveland, there's a reason why there's jokes about how, why the Browns are the Browns, and how, just people say inept of a franchise there. Like, there's reasons why these jokes are made. And I think whether you liked Stefanski or not, I think, you give him a little bit more time. Because the other thing, too, is he only had 1 year with Shador. He only had 1 year with Dylan Gabriel. We saw what happened with the Watson stuff, and we saw how that didn't work out. Dorian Thompson-Robinson was there for a little bit before they traded him off, I think, to the Eagles for Kenny Pickett or something like that. And then they shipped Kenny Pickett out of town. Who else? He was with Mayfield for a little bit. I think Mayfield was the longest tenured quarterback that he had. Which, by the way, some of the tea that's coming out between them and shipping people off for a bag, here you go, here's a bag of rocks with that. You basically got nothing for that trade. I'm thinking, and I know I'm in the minority here because, when Baker got traded from the Browns, oh my hell, it was ridiculous. And all these years later, I'm still sitting here after we've seen some of the success. Now, yes, did the Buccaneers season go the way they had hoped or intended? No, obviously not, because look at their playoff egg, not even making the playoffs, and how they beat Carolina, but just because of mathematics on how football is, the way football is, they missed it, which again I think is totally lame. I think the South battle came down to that Bucks versus Panthers game. It should not have been decided between the Falcons and the Saints a week later like that. Come on. But I think my opinion basically on Baker and the Browns is he was the best quarterback that they had in a while. And the fact that right after, with how successful Pittsburgh had that year, their season in 2020, the fact that they won the North, the Steelers won the North, but then they hosted, because the Browns haven't won. The Browns haven't won the North. It's gone to the Steelers or the Ravens or the Bengals. Yeah, let me correct and backstep a little bit there. But the fact that with how much ups and downs the Browns did have, but how many playoff wins have the Browns had since Baker won one? See what I mean? And not only that is he won a playoff game. The next year we got all the locker room drama and bullshit going on with that. And then they shipped him out a year later. And the other thing that doesn't get talked about too is he was dealing with an injury. Because that's the now, could I be reading into stuff? Maybe I'm reading into it too much and reading fake news. But from what I have heard and from a lot of people, what people are talking about is Baker Mayfield was dealing with that shoulder injury all year. And Mayfield is the kind of player, along with Lamar and Josh Allen, where these are guys that play through injury. Playing through injury is a very common thing. Look at Mahomes. One of Mahomes' Super Bowl runs, he was playing with a high ankle sprain. So, I think just like the way that the whole Cleveland thing ended, it was BS, if I'm going to be honest. And I think just it shows, and it's why Cleveland is still where Cleveland is, because you had a decent quarterback and you shipped him off. But let's transition now and let's talk a little bit about Big Mike McCarthy. Going from Dallas to Pittsburgh, which I'm jumping the gun a little early too on this, because I didn't even. Some of these are out of order, I will say. None of these are. What's the word I'm looking for? Chronological, where it's like, okay, this was the first hire. This was I'm just kind of going by. Okay, let's talk about these coaches because I know these coaches the most. So, yeah, let's talk about Big Mike. So, McCarthy was hired, was it 2 days ago? Something like that, a day or two ago. And man, Pittsburgh fans have let everybody know exactly how they feel. I think McCarthy's a fine coach. I can't talk too much crap because, all things considered, if you want to look at the technicalities, he's the last successful coach that the Green Bay Packers have had. I love Matt LaFleur. I think Matt LaFleur did deserve the contract extension. Do not get me wrong. When right after they blew the lead and they lost to the Bears and everybody was talking about, oh my gosh, and everybody was making up those stories and making up the narratives of the Packers need to get rid of LaFleur. It's like, no. LaFleur, I would compare LaFleur to his other predecessors. I think that's the right word, predecessor, like his competition and his comparisons of who's around the same level as him. I think it's all under that Shanahan tree back when they were with Washington. of McVay and Shanahan, correct? If I'm not mistaken, like LaFleur, McVay, and Shanahan were all coordinators at one point when they were all at Washington together. Because I can't compare him. Obviously, I can't compare like LaFleur to Tomlin or Harbaugh or any of the like Morris, who just got fired from the Falcons, or trying to think of like Carroll with the Raiders, McDermott with the Bills. Like it just, there's just different like waves of coaching hires, which is why this one's kind of getting talked about a lot, because I think the last coaching wave, I think the last big one, I think there was like there's 6 or 7 vacancies. It was when Mayo got hired. It's when the head coach for Seattle got hired as well. Like, it was 2 years ago. Because I think that's kind of what the NFL is turning into, where, yeah, if you're not having success in the first 2-3 years, you're gone. I mean, like, jokingly enough, like, looking through the history of the NFL and, like, some of the coaches, like, it would show old highlights and replays of who the head coach was for the Jets. And, like, does anybody remember Adam Gase back in 2020? Or Staley with the Chargers before Harbaugh? Or I have forgotten this already just because of, like, just short term. But anybody remember that Doug Peterson was the head coach of the Jags, and then before him it was Meyer? No, like, you forget these things. And so anyways, but the reason why I'm talking about this, bringing this up, I'm yapping, but LaFleur signed the extension with the Packers, and I'm fine with it, because I think LaFleur, there was something, as a Packers fan, watching, I tell you what, there was something that LaFleur brought out of Aaron Rodgers, those handful of seasons that they were together, because, I mean, McCarthy gets fired, and then everybody's like, oh my gosh, what are the Packers going to do now? I think they missed the playoffs that year. This is 2018. But then we saw what happened in 2019. They went all the way to the NFC Championship game. They made 2 back-to-back NFC Championship games. Rodgers won league MVP twice back-to-back. I think, like, it goes hand in hand. Like, I think it's half how talented your quarterback is, but also, like, your head coach who's calling the play calls, because that's one thing that is a lost art that is not coming back. J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., Sam Darnold, who else? You want to talk about some of the rookies coming in, whether it's Jackson Dart, Dylan Gabriel, Shador, Tyler Shuck. None of these quarterbacks are looking to the sideline saying, like, okay, coach, yeah, I got the play, whatever. Hey, I'm going to call an audible, and we're going to do my own thing here. No one in the NFL now is a field general like that. Like, that talent of being a field general, looking at the schemes, looking at your linebackers, coverage protections and stuff, and, like, changing the play. For one, Peyton Manning mastered it, because that's what he was best known for. But yeah, you're not gonna find any quarterbacks now in the league that are doing that. That are, hey, screw whatever the coach has to say. We're gonna run an audible here. I'm gonna take the ball. I'm gonna be a hero. I'm gonna run for this first down or something. Like, it is turned into everything is calculated. There's stats behind everything, where, oh, you go on the coach's script, and if you don't go on the coach's script, pack your bags, buddy, because you're getting shipped out of town. But that's not to say that we can't get there eventually, and that's not to say that some players can't be like that, but, I mean, we'll just see. But with McCarthy going to the Steelers, look, I'm going to be honest, I think, because some people were talking about it, they're like, could McCarthy be the reason why Aaron Rodgers plays one more year? No. There's parts of me that's like, no. If anything, this would be the telltale sign of, like, okay, fine. Okay, you really want me gone. But I think I think I mean, we've been doing this song and dance ever since he left the Packers. Rodgers is going to let us know when he retires. It does seem inevitable that he does retire. But with how, if I'm going to be honest, with where the Steelers are right now, because right now I would say Mason Rudolph is the starting quarterback if Rodgers doesn't come back. Because Will Howard, they're not going to just throw. Will Howard is the future. Do not get me wrong. He's the future unless, because there's talks that, Baltimore's going to get rid of Lamar Jackson and the Raiders are in the mix. But then if like the Steelers want to throw their hat in the ring and then, there's a weird trade where, Lamar is going to the Steelers for, TJ Watt, which, what a waste. What a stinking waste to have. Or like we have a 3-team trade where Crosby and TJ Watt end up on the Raiders together or something. Lamar ends up in the Steelers, and then like Rodgers ends up on the Ravens or something stupid like that. Okay, but that'd be a crazy, crazy waste, just considering like the level of talent and how little to no success. But anyways, I think from like recent memory and trying to remember like the good days of him being a Packers head coach, but then also with kind of how his time ended in Dallas, I could see why Steeler fans are upset. And I can see why there's wailing and gnashing of teeth. But the truth is, here's the thing, guys. They've had four coaches since the moon landing. Dude could go 4-13. He's not getting fired. I think Mike's going to ride this thing out for the next 10 years. I'm not trying to laugh, but it's just there's parts of me where, like, I'm not saying it's a middle finger to the Steelers fans. I'm not. But there's parts of me that is curious to, really, him. Dude hasn't coached in 3 years. You got other coaches, like McDermott. Because I'm telling you what, Sean McDermott did a lot of why Josh Allen is successful is because of Sean McDermott. Will that ever be talked about? Hell no. Because you think about how successful, well, Brady and Belichick, that's a different thing. But like, you think about, Aaron Rodgers. Does anybody talk about McCarthy or LaFleur on why he's successful? No, not really. Or you talk about, who's another good quarterback? Sometimes with Montana, you do talk about, like, it just depends. Like, it's a case by case. But like, there is parts of me that think, yeah, you Sean McDermott with Will Howard, great developing. You develop this quarterback, and Will Howard can turn into another quarterback that is in the league for a long time. And I've been saying that since he was drafted. Like, you look at the success of Mahomes, you look at the success of Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen was a little bit of a risk. I think because the Bills were not good when they drafted him. But Lamar, Joe Burrow was also a risk too. But, you saw what he did at LSU. You couldn't deny that. You couldn't be like, nah, we're good. This dude's going to be a bona fide bust. Like, no, like, you needed to take a risk on Burrow. But, I mean, like, I'm just trying to think of Rodgers. Like, you compare those quarterbacks that I just listed to the 20-something quarterbacks that have started for the Cleveland Browns. Again, we're coming all the way back to Cleveland, where I think organization matters. Jalen Hurts with the Eagles. A lot of people would crap on the Eagles. They're a decent team. They were a decent team this year. They won the Super Bowl last year. Like, Hurts being drafted, and like, he was drafted to a good situation. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to think of if there's any other off the top of my head. But like, I look at Dart, I look at Cam Ward, I look at Shador, I look at Gabriel. Like, none of these guys were a Shuck. None of these guys were brought into good situations. It's like, wow, you're gonna go play for the Saints. Guess how many games the Saints won last year? So I think you put McCarthy with Will Howard, maybe some special things could happen. But for the Steelers, my honest reaction to what their record could be and how successful they are in the coming future, baby, if the standard ain't the standard, then I don't know what is. 10-7, wild card exit. Come on now. But I wouldn't, you know what's funny though? I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in and they win 11 games. Or, also 10-7, and they get a wild card win. Because that would be, because here would be the funniest thing of all this, is if they do, they bring McCarthy and they get to the postseason, they have a winning record again. So how many seasons has it been with a straight winning record? And then all of a sudden, we lost our 8th wild card game in a row. That would be awkward. Super Bowl, I don't know. It's too soon to tell if McCarthy can get back to a Super Bowl. How crazy would it be? Okay, let's say Rodgers does come back. Okay, Rodgers comes back for one more year. Just one more. How crazy would it be if McCarthy and Rodgers win a Super Bowl with the Steelers together when they were with the Packers together? You know what I mean? Like, fun, full story. I don't even want to think about it. But because I'm still leaning on Rodgers retires. But that's just me. Hi, depressed Broncos fan here, bro. Sorry about your Broncos. Man, that was. Hey, you know what? It's the thought that counts. No, Stidham played good in that first half. He played decent enough. I don't know why the second you hit this 52-yard ball, which, by the way, was the farthest throw all season. So all of the good performances that Bo Nix put up, Stidham threw the ball the farthest for Denver this year. But right after that opening drive, all right, guys, hey, let's pump the brakes. We're up 7-0. We're good. Like, it was just, I don't know. It was really confusing. And the other thing too is everybody talking about, because watch this, and I freaking predicted this. What has everybody been talking about today in the NFL world and the news world and stuff? They've been talking and they've been blaming Sean Payton for that loss because he went for it on 4th down. Mind you, there was 9 minutes left in the second quarter. They got the ball, I think 2 or 3 more times in that quarter alone. There's a whole second half to play. Like, if you are blaming the whole loss because of that one play when there's still a second half of football, that you didn't even watch the damn game then. That's my hot take, okay? If I'm just going to be honest, like, this isn't something where because the other thing too is Lutz kicked 2 more field goals and he missed both of them. Are we going to talk about that? So there's 6 more points that could have been scored. Broncos win 13-10. No, we can't talk about that. So I just think it's so funny that we're calling Sean Payton a genius. We're calling Sean Payton, and again, I'm parroting a little bit, where we're saying that if there's any coach that's going to get their backup ready, it's Sean Payton for Jarrett Stidham. And then now, after they failed that 4th down, which, by the way, Vrabel sent the house, okay? Now we're clowning and going, oh, that was the worst play call in Bronco history. What an ass of a coach, Horrible, play calling. It's like, what? Make up your mind. What side are you on? Is Sean Payton a good coach, or is he not? You know what I mean? Sean Payton now, I believe, moves to 1-2 in championship games, which a sad stat that I saw too is the fact that Devontae Adams is 0 for 5. Dude, yeah, man. It's freaking crazy that he hasn't been to a Super Bowl. Like, I forget he was a rookie the year they went to Seattle. I forget that. Anyways, let's talk more about some of the coaches. Because this one, I think at the time when he got hired, this was the hottest job to get. I mean, come on. You get to go coach Jackson Dart. I think Harbaugh signing with the Giants. This is another coach that I was kind of like, huh? Look, I think Dable was a fine coach, considering that, I mean, okay, Colts fans, turn away. Turn away, turn away, turn away. Because what I'm going to say might, make you guys upset. The fact that Dable won games and won a playoff game with Daniel Jones is a miracle. There. I said it, okay? I said what I said, okay? And I said it with my chest. You look at what Daniel Jones' record was on the Giants. It was a losing record. Yeah, go look it up. I'm not here to say though that Daniel Jones is a bad quarterback at all. But I think I mean, we're in October. Colts are 8-1, 8-2, and Daniel Jones is in MVP conversations. Mind you, all these wins that this dude was getting, like, he hadn't had a successful season, like, win-wise, since 22. Did we not watch what he did in 23, 24, 2020, 2020? You see what I mean? Like, I mean, it's a kind of a... Now, it is impressive to see how much he has turned around, because you look at Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's also had a turnaround. And I think Daniel Jones, you give him a little more time. He was injured. I will give him that. Like, the trajectory. Let's just see where the trajectory can go and continue. Because, yeah, you go look at some of those Giant games. Brutal. And if you want to know the main one I'm talking about, go watch Giants versus Vikings Week 1, 2023, I think. Or 2024. They wore these ugly ass throwback uniforms, and he had a bad game. And to me, also, if I'm going to be transparent, there has to come a point too where we talk about, let's not blame the coach or the offensive coordinator for a bad quarterback performance. Can we blame the quarterback? Can we ever look and go, yeah, quarterback played really bad? Like, I'm thinking of Max Brosmer is going to catch a random stray here. It's not the coach or the offensive coordinator that is falling down, throwing up a prayer, and it getting picked six to the house. Coordinator didn't throw that. The head coach didn't throw that. Brosmer did. You see what? So it's like, can we put some blame, on that? But again, you can't blame quarterbacks anymore. It's not their fault. I'm like, even with the head coaching job that Harbaugh is going to go into, look, Dart played good. He had a lot of good games. But there were a lot of games where he selfishly lost the game too. I mean, dude, like, the dude was a loose cannon at Ole Miss, which is half the reason why everybody loved him and why he was drafted. Because, I mean, he was willing to take those risks, gutsy play calling, but there were times that he was careless with the football, which is why they never went to the college playoff. Random side tangent. I thought Jackson Dart's last season, I thought Ole Miss could make the playoff. Boy, was I wrong. I either had them going 11-1 or 10-2. I had them getting in, but boy, I was wrong. So, anyways, now Harbaugh is on the Giants, which, fun fact, because I think even I think even Jim made the joke where, Giants and the Chargers, they can get together in the Super Bowl, and we can have the Har Bowl 2.0, and we'll see if there's a push off in this one this time around. Which a lot of people, I mean, I look with how the Ravens 49ers game went. I'm gonna have to rewatch that game, but I remember so many people were talking about that one after it was all said and done. But all I know is it was a good game, and it was one of the more, like, I think Super Bowl 47 was a little bit more entertaining than 48. I think it was more entertaining than 46. I mean, that Ravens team was fun. The 49er team that year was fun. So, anyways. Let me get... I was trying to go into my Facebook, but I couldn't get away from the negativity from the AFC Championship game results. Oh, yeah. People have been... Dude, I haven't seen so many... Hello? I haven't seen so many Seahawk fans come out of the woodwork again, which they've been retired since the last time they went to the Super Bowl. But there have been so many Seahawk fans coming out of the woodwork, Patriots fans coming out of the woodwork, and it's like, where the hell have all these fans been all these years? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're not fans of Cam Newton? We're not fans of, Mac Jones when we only win... I think they only won 10 games that year when they got blown out by the Bills, which the memes of their rebuild, guys, the year the Rams won the Super Bowl, the Patriots were in the playoffs that year too. Like, it's not like they went on this hiatus of 15 to 20 years. It was 7 years. Okay? I'm trying to, let's see if I can, no. That's inaccurate. Because I'm trying to think here. Because I was like, the Patriots have made the Super Bowl, did a rebuild, and got to the Super Bowl quicker than the Packers have gotten to the NFC Championship. Like, I was trying to make that, but I think the Packers' trip to the NFC Championship was the year. But anyways, regardless, but it's like, you look at the Raiders, you look at the Ravens, you look at, oh gosh, who are some other teams? There are a handful of other teams that haven't gotten that far. That would be one to get there. Especially the Broncos. Broncos haven't been there in a decade, so anyways. All right, okay, now, why is the Giants' job intriguing? Here's why. Jackson Dart. It's that simple. And I think also you got to give credit to Malik Neighbors and Cam Skattebo. I think Cam Skattebo is a player that a lot of people would want to play with, and he's probably a dork in the locker room, and just a locker room dude, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to get, what else? Let me think of what else I could say about your comment about Facebook. Who else? Oh, and then all of a sudden out of the woodwork too. I've seen a lot of Chiefs fans starting to complain that the Patriots are back in the Super Bowl, and it's like, no one asked you. It's like, be quiet. But yeah. Which, thanks for the comments, guys. Yeah, if you guys, let me take a real quick break here. If you guys are enjoying the stream here, let me do my plugs here. If you guys are enjoying the stream, be sure to hit that like button. But yeah, we are, I think we've hit 200. Let me check. Nope, we're still at 199. So yeah, if you guys are enjoying the stream, come on, hit that subscribe button so we can reach 200. Okay, but back to my thoughts. I think when you look at young QB prospects, I think one of the most intriguing one that people are interested in is Jackson Dart, because I mean, there were some games where he was really entertaining to watch, and the Giant games were fun because I mean, hey, after the Giants kept it, they kind of kept it somewhat close against the Chiefs, and then they beat the Eagles. Dude, social media just ate it up, and then Scatterboo became a household name all of a sudden overnight. Which Arizona State fans were probably like, "Yo, I remember, Scatterboo when he was," because there were so many games. You go watch some of the Sun Devil games. I mean, especially the Utah game, the Peach Bowl. Oh my gosh, but the dude had the ability, like Saquon when Saquon was at Penn State, and even the Super Bowl year for the Birds. When you have a player that can single-handedly quarterback, you expect it out of the quarterback. You really do. You expect Aaron Rodgers to go make that game-winning drive, Tom Brady to make that game-winning touchdown pass. But when it's a different player like a receiver or a running back that can just put the game on his shoulders, it's so entertaining. And like, there's parts of me that feel like this upcoming season, if they all stay healthy, we could see a game where Malik Neighbors just takes over, and Dart's like, "Okay, here you go, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns." But then we'll like look at it and be like, "Wow, congrats, you beat up the Titans. Titans only have 1 win," or something like that. We'll see. But I think with young quarterbacks and with how, I'm not saying you can influence a younger quarterback more than you can one of the vet quarterbacks. Like that's not the angle that I'm trying to. Parts of me think you look at a vet quarterback, there's something that kind of whispers to me that a vet quarterback is a little bit more set in their ways of, nope, this is not what worked here, versus a younger quarterback that's hungry to learn and hungry to win. And that's where I think, if you're a coach, why wouldn't you want that player? Why wouldn't you want the player that wants to get better and listen? You know what I mean? So, how Harbaugh does with the Giants, I don't think, realistically, I think they could do exactly what they did this season and split 1-1 with the Birds. But I'm looking at the Cowboys. And the reason why I'm looking at the Cowboys is their non-divisional games will be the non-divisional games, which they could lose all 11 of their non-divisional games. That has happened. But there's parts of me that I think you could split 1-1 with Washington, because you did this season. You split 1-1 with the Birds this season. Can you split 1-1 with Dallas? Or can you try to sweep Dallas? Because everybody's talking about the new head coaches, pieces moving in the offseason. I don't know if Dallas gets better. And with how Dallas missed the playoffs, it's like, does Dallas try something where they have a bounce back season, and they get 10 wins, they get 11 wins, they get to the postseason. And it's like, if Dallas is going to have that kind of year, I don't think the G-men can get it done and beat them. I don't know. I could be wrong. A fun hot take would be, though, that Giants replace, because Packers are going to get to the playoffs. Maybe. Who knows? Like, someone from the South is going to go. There's not going to be 2 teams. It's only going to be 1. So either Bucks or Panthers. Maybe the Bears take a step back and the Giants replace them. Eagles are going to the postseason. Come on, because there's that fun stat where, you lose the wild card, you get to the Super Bowl. Fun stat for the Eagles as of late. But so confirmed, Eagles are winning the Super Bowl next year. All right, here we go. Now let's move ahead. Let's talk about Robert Saleh a little bit. I think, so my expectations for the Titans coming into this season were not high at all. I didn't think to expect what Washington did with Daniels, or what the Patriots are doing with May right now in his second year, or Williams with the Bears in his second year. That's a lot, and not every single team can do that. And so I'm over here and I'm thinking, you know what? To expect Cam Ward to come out here and just save the Tennessee Titans as a rookie, it's not happening. And did it happen this year? No, it didn't. Go look at their record. They weren't, they're kind of below average. I mean, one win, moral victory here. They beat the Chiefs. Well, but there's context to it because Mahomes wasn't playing. It was after Mahomes tore his ACL. You look at some of the other teams that they could keep it like it just, yeah, you don't see a team that gets the number one pick just magically turn it around and get 12 wins, 13 wins, and get to the postseason. The other thing, too, is the South in the AFC is very competitive, and especially now where, look at this, Colts have turned it around, and I think the Colts will have a decent season next year. I was sleeping on them this year. I think I had them winning 3 or 4 games. I think they're going to be around the 8 to 10, 8 to 11 range next season as well. Like, either this season was a fluke and like they started off hot and it's a fluke, or this is the trajectory in the right direction of the Colts. But like, you got the Colts who are going to be competitive. You got the Jags who just won the South, and not a turnover from Lawrence late in that game to seal the loss. You string a couple plays together. Lawrence has that game-winning drive, and they beat the Bills, and they're the ones going to play Denver in, which this is what is so crazy. Little side tangent here. This is what is so crazy about the NFL playoffs this season is the fact that the Steelers, I'm looking at it from the AFC side. If the Broncos, if like just any, which is what is so crazy, because there's parts of me that think if the Bills played the Patriots round 3, I think the Bills can get them again. And then there's also, if the Jags play the Broncos in that divisional round, the Jags beat the Broncos 2 or 3 weeks earlier. And so there's parts of me that go, you know what? They could probably do it again. Or if the Steelers beat the Texans, Steelers beat the Patriots in week 5, week 3, week 4, week 5. So it's like the fact that it's like, oh my gosh, some of these teams could have, but it is what it is. Which it all would have ended up in the blizzard anyways, because there's parts of me where it's like, yeah, no, Denver was the team of destiny. But what was I saying? But yeah, with Cam Ward, you have the Jags, which Lawrence seems to be taking those leaps and steps that we had predicted and hoped for him to take, because I mean, I think he took a few steps back with Meyer, and then I'm not saying that Doug Peterson didn't. I don't know. That one I do not know. But a lot of people were talking about how if you put a rookie quarterback in a bad situation with a bad coach, and you go look at the Jags record that year, they went 1-16 that year, or like 1-15. It ruins the development part versus here you go, Mahomes, go sit behind Alex Smith for your first year, which people are going to forget this in the upcoming years. Alex Smith was a really good quarterback. He just happened to lose his starting position twice to 2 potential Hall of Famers. Will Kaepernick make the Hall of Fame? I don't know. Will Mahomes? Most likely. So, all right. So we got Salah here. My opinion on it is, I think he's a good coach. I don't know. Like, I think his I think what happened with him and Rodgers on the Jets, I think that was more franchise. I mean, we've gotten to the point now where if, whenever the Jets make a decision, Jets or the Steelers or the Browns, we're laughing. We're laughing. We just laugh, and like the quarterback could have a dog shit performance, but we all laugh and go, yeah, it's the owner's fault. Like that is what this franchise has come to now, and we just laugh at ownership. I think Salah will do fine with Cam Ward, though. I think Cam Ward has a lot of upside in his career, and again, he was asked to do a lot as a rookie. He came in. I believe he played every single game, so that's good, you know. And who knows? He could have that jump like the Iceman or Drake May. So yeah, I already talked about. I don't think the Jets thing was his fault too much. I mean, some of it, yes, but to blame everything, no, no. Salah was not the 100% problem with the Jets. There was a lot. There was a lot. I mean, the defense was bad too. It was a lot. But just with upside for what could happen for the Titans, I mean, you compete in the South. You know, at worst, you're getting a 4 seed. Well, yeah, because I think the South. Well, I mean, this year they sent two. They sent the Jags and they sent the Texans. I don't know. I don't know if I don't think the AFC South would be like the NFC West though, where they send multiple teams. I don't see that. I'll be honest. I do not see that. Okay, let's talk about. Oh, okay. Yep, we're getting to the end of the stream. Okay, sweet, sweet. I knew we were wrapping it up because we have been streaming for about an hour, which I didn't even mention it at the top of the stream, but I said, look, this stream, this could go for 5 minutes. This could go for 5 hours. Like, that's how all the streams are. But I did want to keep it within an hour-ish range, depending on you guys and hot takes from the comment section or stuff, which I thank you guys for being here. If you guys did enjoy the stream, please hit that like button. Leave a hot take. Like, I love when, you know, interacting and hearing your guys's, hey, I mean, one of the best hot takes that I had recently, someone predicted, oh my gosh, it was so good, I've already forgot. I think it was the Jaguars, but one of y'all in my comments predicted that the Jags would win the South. I didn't see it. I played it safe. I think I predicted the Texans winning it. I don't remember. Like, I've been riding high on the Jags being successful and finally turning it around since. I mean, since the Chargers win, because that's the thing about the NFL that I've noticed is it's like you build and you build and you get there, and like with quarterback development that I've noticed, it's like, which is why I've noticed like we've judged Mac Jones so much quicker and faster, or Fields as well, but we've given Fields a lot of chances. But like Mac Jones is an interesting situation, but like with Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, Trevor Lawrence, all these guys that were drafted in 21 and 22. It's like 4 or 5 years later to where we are now. These guys should be in the divisional round. They should be in the NFC or the AFC championship. These guys should be competing for Super Bowls because that's kind of like the trajectory. And so after they beat the Chargers, my brain was thinking, yeah, this could be the start for them having the trajectory of, you know, we saw that someone can beat the Chiefs because they did. We saw what the Bengals did to them. So like that's where I had this feeling of, yeah, okay, the AFC is in good hands, you know, because this is where it starts. This is where Trevor Lawrence finally figures it out. You know, we saw what his rookie year was. We saw what his sophomore year was. Okay, he's on year 4. This is where he finally takes that step, and the Jaguars get going. But it didn't work out like that, which is what it is. Let's talk about Mike McDaniel. The Sens are going to come back to make the hockey. There will be no hockey talk in my. No, I'm teasing. I love hockey. I think I think the Sens can get to the postseason. I want to make a video and I want to look at the standings and I want to give an honest reaction. Here, let me bring the camera back. I want to give an honest reaction about if the so damn, almost a decade ago when the Blues won it, also when the Habs went in 21, the Panthers in 23 as the 8th seed. You look at the standings, and I want to look at the standings, and I want to make like a little video or something where there are teams where it's like, are the Canucks going to get there? No, they traded away their future. They've been on a tough game skid. They're probably not making it. But you look at the teams in the middle of the pack, like the Penguins, the Bruins, the Devils, they're in the higher part of the middle of the pack, but like the Wild or Toronto. Okay, if you want to be delusional and think about Toronto, like I want to make one of those fun videos where it's like, yeah, no, let's look at the middle of the pack and let's look at everybody's standings, because around this time 7 years ago, the Blues were last place. They were right in the middle. They were in the last place in their division. They were in the middle of the pack in all of the standings, hovering around 500, and they went on their Stanley Cup run. And I wanted to, when I start to cover hockey a little bit more, I wanted to make one of those videos where I look at the records and the standings and go, yeah, you know what? I think the Habs can go on a run and get there. I think behind good goaltending, the Blues could turn around and get there, or something like that. But that is a little later. I will admit the only thing I know about the NHL right now is that the Jets suck, the Capitals are average, and the Colorado Avalanche have not lost in regular play, regulation time. They haven't lost 10 games yet. The Avalanche are on pace, not on pace to beat the Bruins record, but like they're step by step of what the Jets were doing last season. Looking, seeing, but thanks for the comment though. Yeah, I think the Sens though, that we'll see. Olmark needs to come back, and Olmark needs to play phenomenal too. And is Tkachuk back too? I don't know if he's back. I haven't even looked. I've been so focused on college football and NFL football. I don't know if Brady's back. But it takes more than that. It's not just two guys. Like, it takes your D-line. It takes your third and your fourth line. Like, that's the beautiful thing of hockey, is it's a full team sport. Like, you can have the best player in the world. You shut down their best player, they're not going anywhere. Case in point, and everybody's already forgotten it. I haven't, because I just so happened to watch the game, and it was cool. It was cool to visually see that and understand and go, oh, okay, yeah, no, this makes sense. Like Ekblad and who else? Like I forgot it. I've Marchand a little bit, Bennett, like the Panthers forwards and Demon, they shut down McDavid. McDavid couldn't do anything in the last Stanley Cup. Draisaitl ended up being the points leader and the only one that could score goals for the Oilers. And then wouldn't you know, Skinny, he played good. Picard played great. Not Picard, sorry. Star Trek's on the brain. Nerds. But I think but yeah, no, you have a good, defense that can shut down their goal scorers. They're not going to score points. But in turn, you need to be able to have your Barkov, your Rodriguez, your Tkachuk, your Verhaeghes, your guys that are going to go score goals. So we'll see. A lot of people are talking about the Red Wings right now in Tampa Bay as well. But we'll just see. we'll see. I'm excited, man. I think hockey's fun. Hockey is really fun. And the other thing too is it's a no nonsense sport. Like you can't fake hockey. Like if you don't want to get hit, like you find yourself getting hit more. And the other thing too is with hockey, you can't, as much as people talk about foul baiting in the NBA or like effort in the NFL or something, you can't fake any of that in the NHL. You can't, because A, your teammates are going to kick your ass, and B, like I've been to a handful of hockey games. I have seen how fast the puck goes. You can't just fake it with the puck flying at you at 70 miles an hour. You can't. And so I think, yeah, baseball and hockey are not sports pitching wise when you're hitting and pitching, because the speed of the ball coming at you, you know, if there's a 95 mile an hour high and inside coming towards your head, you can't fake that. Like, anyways, I digress. Enough of my soapbox. That's my thoughts on hockey. We'll do a video and look at the standings, because we need to. But thanks for the comments, guys. Yeah. McDaniels. Let's talk about McDaniels. Yeah, the writing was on the wall that he was going to leave Miami. I didn't think he would, though. I kind of thought it was just a lot of noise, and I thought it was a lot of outside noise, because, I mean, people being like, he's not a good coach. Come on, give me a break. He's fine. He's not a bad coach. Now, kind of along the same lines of what was going on with the Saints, too. Miami and the Saints were really bad for majority of the regular season, but then after Halloweenish, they started to turn it on and start to play competitive football, even though mathematically I think they were eliminated at the point. I made a joke that McDaniels, after he was fired, or in the talks of getting fired, I made a joke where it's like, watch, we're talking so much shit on the Eagles, and we're talking about how the Chiefs are never gonna win another Super Bowl. And I'm like, watch this. Watch the Miami Dolphins overreact and fire McDaniels, and then watch him go to the Chiefs, and then all of a sudden Mahomes is throwing 50 touchdowns this season again. Yeah, watch that happen, because we're over here going, oh, he sucks on the Dolphins. He needs to go be somewhere else. But I think the original joke that I made in one of the streams was, I said, watch him go to the Eagles after the Eagles go back to back. That was wrong. But I said, watch with how much they blame the ineptitude of the offensive play calling for the Eagles, and how we clown Jalen Hurts for not being able to throw the deep ball, which, by the way, he can. Watch McDaniels go there, and then boom, A.J. Brown. Boom, Devontae Smith. Boom, Dotson. All day. Oh, you want a little bit of Saquon in the flat? Boom, we're going that way. Like, which now it's kind of funny that he's going to the Chargers, which, who knows? Maybe he could be a little quarterback guru whisperer for Herbert, because right now I don't think there is enough slander going on for Herbert. Not enough people. Everybody is still talking love and giving love and praise, which that's funny. You want to know what's funny? Let me tell you something funny. Is people are clowning on Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, which, come on, it goes without saying. But everybody is making jokes about Drake making the Super Bowl before these guys. And it's like, Herbert, you need to throw Herbert in this list. And the other reason why you need to throw Herbert in this list is because Herbert could have beat the Patriots. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, throw him in that list. He's 0-3. He doesn't get off scot-free. So, all right. Last thing, let's talk about it. Other coaches that are in the league. You know what? I'm going to be honest, and I don't mean this disrespectfully. I think this is the new one that got hired. Yeah, I don't even remember his name. These are the two head coaches that got hired. over McDermott, over Dable. Like, I think Dable could be a coach again in the NFL. Same with Sean McDermott. I'm interested to see where the Bills go with a head coach too, because when you look at some of the vacant spots and the openings for, let's go look. Let's go have us a look, shall we? Let's go look, shall we? NFL head coach vacancies. Look at this. This is so stupid. This is so stupid. I should apply. Just. Oh my gosh. Okay. January 5th. Well, this is old. This is stinking old. Okay, the Bills. Yes, we know about the Bills. Okay, so the Bills still need one. The Browns still need one. The Cardinals. How could I forget? Yes, the Cardinals, the Raiders. Oh my gosh. Oh, but they hired McCarthy. Atlanta hired Stefanski. Jesse Minter, that's his name. The Ravens. Jeff Hafley. Oh, and you want to know something? The funniest thing about Jeff Hafley? He was the Packer. He was a coach on the Packers, and I had no clue. No clue. And then Harbaugh, Saleh. Okay, that's everybody. Like, maybe the best thing is to be one of those coaches that aren't noticed, that don't get the spotlight, like a couple other. But like, of all the Packer games that I watched, I'm not trying to sound mean, but of all the Packer games I watched, no one was talking about Jeff Hafley. One person did in my comments section. One of you guys, you know which one you are. You talked about how, he's probably going to get a head coaching job. I had no clue. I didn't even think that would be possible. He was the defensive coordinator. I had no clue. No clue. But I mean, dude, who wants to go to the Raiders? I mean, the only intriguing thing about going to the Raiders and being their head coach, you get Fernando Mendoza. But it's a project. You have to, like, you both are coming in year one. So there's that. The Arizona job, I mean, come on. You got to deal with Kyler Murray's out. We'll figure out where he's going in March. The Cleveland job. Bro, don't even get me started. And then Buffalo. Because Buffalo's the big one. Everybody wants to go to Buffalo. And you cannot convince me that of all the guys that are down here, McCarthy, Stefanski, Minter, Hafley, Harbaugh, Saleh, if they knew that Bills job would have been open, they wouldn't have signed. They would have gone there. Because that's the thing is, it was so late that it was kind of like, oh wow, okay. Like, and that is what is so weird about it. Like, I know this is a result-driven league. McDermott shouldn't have been fired. My own personal opinion. I think Russell Wilson in his prime is better than prime Mahomes. That's my sound effect for Vine boom. Yeah, you're right. No, I 1,000% agree with you, dude. Nobody wanted to play the Seahawks. You look at the prime Legion of Boom, dude. Like, the Seahawks would beat the shit out of you. The Chiefs, no. You look at dynasties, you look at Smash Mouth football, you look at legends, you look at teams you fear. You know teams that you fear? The Broncos with Peyton Manning, the Patriots with Tom Brady, the Seahawks with the Legion of Boom and Russ. Like, Russ was athletic. The reason why Russ is a Super Bowl champ and on his fifth team in the last 4 years is because of those Seahawks days. Like, that is why. And hot take, this is just me personally, if Wilson would have retired a Seahawk, he's no doubt Hall of Fame. He's going to Canton. And he could have that legacy, kind of like how RG3 and Andrew Luck have one, where it's like a what if. Oh, what if? What if? Because what has slowly, and this is kind of the same thing of Aaron Rodgers too. Like, I'll be very transparent with my thoughts on Aaron Rodgers as well. Is Aaron Rodgers this season was good. I know they got to the postseason. There were the last handful of seasons have been very, like, uh, if he wasn't as good as he was in Green Bay, he's not making the Hall of Fame. Because in turn, how we view Russ right now is how we view Rodgers as well. Washed, old. Like, you look at Matt Ryan, you look at Phillip Rivers, you look at Joe Flacco. Like, these team after team after team that they get to go to and play, it's not helping their case for Canton. Flacco will get to Canton because he's a Super Bowl champ. Russ will get to Canton because he's a Super champ. But, I mean, yeah, Russ, something, yeah, like those Broncos. And don't get me wrong, I do not think his success and failure with the Broncos was all his fault too. I don't think that. Like, I think it half goes to Sean Payton, ownership, offensive coordinator, and then Russ. Like, Russ is just as much of a problem in that. And then also, I mean, we were there. We watched when, Coach McDaniel's Dolphins beat their ass 70-20. We were there. We watched it. I think, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, Prime. I'm gonna have to look back. That's a great comment. I'm gonna have to look back though. I don't know if Prime Russ and the Seahawks ever played the Chiefs. Cause you want to know another team that never played each other, and this to this day still pisses me off so much. Mahomes hasn't played Rodgers yet. They have not played each other. When they were supposed to play each other, he was out in 21 because the NFL suspended him. So we can run again here. Never. They have never played each other. Nope. Because one, AFC, NFC, so the only chance that they would get to play each other if they didn't schedule it would be Super Bowl, which Rodgers never got back to the dance. But in 2021, when the Chiefs and Packers are scheduled in 21 and then in 23, both times it's been Jordan Love. Yep. So watch the NFL media run with that, being like, "Oh my gosh, see, Mahomes is better than Rodgers because he has more rings and he's beaten the Packers." He's beaten Jordan Love. There's a difference. Like, kind of like how the Packers should have played the Patriots well more than there's a infinite amount of times that the Packers and the Patriots could have met up in the Super Bowl. But I'm taking Seahawks and Wilson over Mahomes and the Chiefs. But it depends. It depends which Chiefs team though. Like, if we're talking Legion of Zoom, Super Bowl 54 Chiefs with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce in his prime, I don't know. I think it's a damn good game. I think it's close. But if we're talking Chiefs the last 2-3 years versus Legion of Boom, Legion of Boom all day. All day. Do I think you're a bandwagon for being a Seahawks fan? I've been a fan. No, because no, because I mean, you've been sitting with the team for 9 years. They haven't been to the Super Bowl in 9 years. That no. Now, if you were a fan the second that they won the Super Bowl in 2013, maybe, but like, no, I don't. I don't get to like, oh, because bandwagon fans now that we're looking at, gotta look at those Chief fans, Bills fans, Bengal fans. No, nobody was a Bengals fan except Bengal fans in Ohio before Burrow got there. Anyways, hey, thanks, man. Thank you. All right, I think people on the shorts end. Glad you guys are here. We're gonna do a hard out. We have reached the end of this stream, so be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I'll catch you guys in another stream. Sweet.